Hi, good day. I'm immensely grateful for yet another opportunity to be talking to you today. Today's conversation is an important one. Recently, Australia has requested Twitter to keep all Australians safe on the platform and requested uh, inputs on the hate speech issue, right? So, how are we keeping Australians safe on Twitter and minimizing the hate speech experience? And I think it's an important conversation, right? I am Australian. I'm based out of Sydney right now, so I'm focused on the Australian experience. I travel, and as I travel through my travels in different cities, if I see similar experience, I will make it a point to reach out to the mayors of respective cities and provide my inputs. The idea is to create an enriched experience for all of us online, okay, irrespective where we are based out of in the world. And to that end, I'll be tagging Cybercrime Australia on this video, and I'd have loved to create this directly on Twitter. Unfortunately, Twitter support team has not yet verified us. There's a technical glitch, and it's over a month now. And I'll get to that as well in this video, right? So let's first understand who I'm going to tag. I'm going to tag Cybercrime Australia. I'm going to tag Twitter support team from a Google YouTube standpoint. Sundar, I do not know if there's a Google support team, but there doesn't seem to be one, and that's why I'm going to tag you. Hopefully you're going to take it to the right people within your team. Tim, from iOS standpoint, I'm going to tag yourself. Linda and Elon, this will be an FYI for you because Twitter support team hopefully will pick it up. So let's get into that conversation, right? One first point, right? In terms of custodian, from an Australian standpoint, Cybercrime Australia, I see yourselves as the custodians, not just to act after a crime has occurred, but to be able to lead that conversation through the best practices, right? And you have the opportunity to create those best practices and then feed that back to the Australian government, and so that the Australian government then can request all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, across the board, they need to comply to ABC, so that we Australians have a very rich online experience, right? So from that standpoint, I think you need to play a more proactive role rather than reactive, wait for a crime to happen and then we come in and report the crime to you. In terms of, and that's why I think that the whole hate speech question that we have, posed the Twitter team to respond to, I think it needs to be broader. It needs to be across all social platforms instead of just targeting Twitter. I think it's very unfair that we've just targeted Twitter. That's one. The second point is in terms of being able to proactively have certain specific features. For instance, I'll take YouTube, right? At least out of Australia, currently on Android devices, you cannot log out of your YouTube channel. How do I use YouTube then? Why do I always have to be logged in to be able to, why am I being tracked, right? The moment I log in, YouTube and Google are tracking the kind of knowledge I'm looking for and or the kind of videos, the content that I consume. And then related to that content, ads start showing up. And even it's just not if as an individual I do not want to be tracked, right? And I should have that freedom. Currently we do not. I do not know if that's true out of every part of the world. I've not checked of YouTube whilst in the US or whilst in London or in Mumbai or in Singapore for that matter. But out of Australia currently we cannot. As against that, on iOS devices, we absolutely can. which is good, right? And that's why the request on all apps, whichever the app is, the minimum requirement is your ability as a user to have the ability to log out of that application. Okay, it's a no-brainer basically. It's much easier to take control of an account that is already logged in to multiple apps as against when you're logged out and you have to individually log into different apps when on your mobile device. Okay, so absolutely a must. And see, you have to understand this, Cybercrime Australia team. In Australia, the demographic is a higher percentage of aging population who do not understand technology. They're not tech savvy, right? And that's why people put up with it. It needs to shift, right? And that's why your role is so critical. A simple feature where an app does not allow you to log out, such apps shouldn't be allowed in our country at all. And then Google will fall in line. They just have to. Why has Google not given you the ability to log out of YouTube, Sundar? How does it help Google? How are you keeping me safe by tracking the content that I'm consuming? You're not my mom, you're not my dad, you're not the government. You certainly do not need to know what content I consume. It's just unfair. I do not keep tabs on you. Why are you keeping tabs on me? Right? Please take this on board, take it to the right team at Google. Please give us the ability to log out of YouTube so that it's just a simple thing. It's just a very simple, basic feature, right? We shouldn't even be having a conversation around it. Unfortunately, that's what's happening right now. There was a time when you could log out of it, but today you cannot. Okay, I think till 5 years ago you could. Okay, so that's about Google. In terms of going back to keeping the conversation on track from a hate speech standpoint, right? I think we need to do better. We need to define what is hate speech for us here in Australia, because each of our standards are very different as individuals. So how is a social media platform supposed to conform to a country's standard? What is acceptable for us Australians, right? And we Australians, the kind of sarcasm being the basis of humor here in Australia, and by the way, I do not like sarcasm, and that's not humor to me, but it's mainstream in Australia. Okay, and you cannot get around it. It just becomes a part of your day-to-day interaction. So given that, and given that we do have tall poppy syndrome as well, our definitions are very different from the rest of the world. So we need to help social media platforms by formulating and defining what do we identify as hate speech, right? I'm not going to do that in this video. It's an exercise, a day-long exercise in itself. Just as intelligence is not well defined, and that's why we cannot really say what intelligence means to one individual is not necessarily what it means to another, and that's the whole conversation around artificial intelligence as well, right? What machine is empowered with intelligence and which is not. Similarly, what comprises of hate speech and what does not. Being able to accurately define it is really important. And I think there's a gap there, right? And this then needs to go to all social platforms, not just Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, across the board, so that we Australians have a richer online experience. Moving on, so that's the main input that I wanted to provide. At this point, happy for Sundar for you to drop off. The rest of the video will focus on Twitter, and likewise Tim yourself. Cybercrime Australia and Twitter support team. the third point is specifically for the experience on Twitter. Now, Twitter has done a very awesome thing in terms of giving us the ability to verify ourselves through Twitter Blue, right? And it's been at least a month now that I've been going back and forth with the Twitter support team, and they just have a temp restriction on my accounts, which does not allow me to add my mobile number. The reason they give is the app and or when I log in, the session that's created is a new session. The support team requires me to go find an old session and or an old device and then update my contact details. Now, this issue has been happening since March 8th of 2023. We've raised it with Twitter support team since May 19, and I've raised 5 cases. I've provided the Twitter team, and the case numbers are down below now, for Twitter support team for your reference, right? And the kind of responses I've had from yourself, support team, Twitter support team, are unacceptable, right? Someone who understands technology, I am convinced, I don't think a human being is responding. I think you've just, offshored your work to ChatGPT, and ChatGPT seems to be responding, because the level of attention that's required, you're going to make money out of Twitter Blue, right? And I have spent over a month, 5 different cases, to do the right thing, to keep me safe so that nobody impersonates my accounts, my company page and my personal page on Twitter, right? And you're telling me I cannot do the right thing, I cannot verify myself because you think there's an issue with the devices we're using. It's almost like you're telling me, Afrros, you're dead. That's what our system is showing us, whilst I'm telling you I am alive. Does that make sense? That's the situation. And here's why I've involved Cybercrime Australia team. I think there are more Australians impacted by this. As I'd earlier mentioned, Australians are not tech savvy. Most of our population is towards 60 plus, right? And people don't really understand what the issues are when you cannot verify yourself. And the kind of responses Twitter support team you all have provided have been completely unacceptable. Okay, and that is why this needs to be raised through the proper channels on behalf of all Australians who are trying to get verified on Twitter. And Twitter support team, I think it's kind of funny because you're actually making money off me through Twitter Blue. So you're telling me you do not want my money, right? And then you want a bonus from your company for not doing what you should actually be doing proactively, creating revenue for your company. So I don't see how you'll you want to have your cake and eat it too. It doesn't work that way, right? So from that standpoint, the action on Cybercrime Australia, please get me the help, because I do not know who else to reach out to now to get the assistance required to sort this out, right? And it's about collaborating. I do not want us to get into legal hassles. That's not where we want to go. And we want to do it not just for us, for my accounts, but across Australia, all Australians who are trying to get verified, who are running into these glitches, which does not allow the user to update their credentials, their contact details. And as I said, something shifted in the Twitter code between 7th March and 8th March. And I've given these inputs as well to the support team in the cases. And they have completely ignored it, right? So that's the request I have of Cybercrime Australia. Now, thank you. If that's at this point, Cybercrime Australia team, you can drop off because I'm going to talk directly to the support team and coach them. Hopefully, they're going to jump on board and take some constructive inputs and help me resolve this by this time next week. So let's get into it. Support team, right? One, you have to pick up your game if you're really serious about being in business for the long haul. Social media companies are about customer service. If you cannot give me stellar customer service, you are not going to survive the race for long. Doesn't matter how fancy your features, doesn't matter how many advertisers show up, because at the end of the day, as a user, if my experience with the support team is crap, I'm going to go to another platform. I'm not going to waste time. And the moment users start falling off, advertisers will start falling off. The moment advertisers start falling off, your revenue is going to deplete faster. Okay? For an entire month, I have tried working with y'all. You will be making money off me by verifying me. And I'm saying, I want to give you money. But you've pushed me away saying there is no issue with the system. There is an issue. If there was no issue, I would have been verified by now. Is that true? Right? Have you all successfully verified me? No, you all have not. Because I cannot add my mobile details to my account right now. Right? And the reason you've given me is you need me to go find an old session. You cannot find an old session. That's not how sessions work, right? And I've explained this as well as part of the explanation in the second case that has been raised, okay? And it has fallen on deaf ears, right? The third thing, in terms of, my alarm is going off. Let me just dismiss it, sorry. The third thing, in terms of the entire experience, you need to be able to, let's say you want to keep me safe. That's what you're claiming, right? But you're not actually keeping me safe because you're holding my account hostage. You're not allowing me to verify myself, which gives other people, other malicious characters, the ability to impersonate me and verify themselves as us. Do you understand how complex this issue is? Right? And because you ain't coming to the game and playing full out, we are being penalized, right? It's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. Here's another thing that I need you all to do. If you cannot give us the ability to add a mobile number for whatever reasons, maybe the reason that you have made changes to your code between 7th March and 8th March is because it sends, the SMS, the verification SMSs that Elon had raised, telco companies are abusing the ability, the automated verification SMSs that go to the mobile numbers that you have registered against an account. Maybe that was the reason why you've disabled it, the ability to update mobile numbers. But if that is the case, you then need to come up with an intelligent Twitter Blue verification process, which does not need you to take the user's mobile number, right? You have my email ID. We've had conversations back and forth. I've raised 5 cases. The fifth time I've raised a case, you didn't even give me a number for that case. That's how pathetic the customer service at Twitter has become. Okay? And then I completely lost it when I read that you guys are suing your own company for bonuses. Why do you need a bonus when you have not delivered? And this is absolutely a case in point that you'll have not delivered. I have been chasing you for an entire month. Give me the ability to verify myself, right? And you'll have said, sorry, we're trying to keep you safe by not allowing you to verify yourself. Seriously? It's unacceptable. I'm going to earnestly request you to pick up your game. And Linda, this absolutely means you need someone on your team to assist you build a stellar customer service team. Not just customer service, across the board, you need a CTO, right? And I'm happy to put my hand up. I will come and assist you. Let's work together, because Twitter is a good place, right? Amongst all the social platforms, I think the vibe on Twitter is empowering, and it assists our world collaborate across time zones, right? Faster, more efficiently. You can discuss on different topics. And I think it's important that we can make the experience stellar for every user, irrespective which part of the world you come from. On that note, I'm going to wrap up. I'm hoping Twitter support team, in the next 48 hours, well, we're almost into the weekend. So let's say by Wednesday next week, our accounts are going to be verified, right? You're going to allow us to update our mobile numbers, and away we go. Yeah, I look forward to a positive experience. Hopefully you're going to deliver. Please do deliver. Ta.